What happens when your heartbeat depends on a wireless signal you can't see? Imagine a tiny device tucked under skin, sending signals through the air to a cloud server. That's the Internet of Bodies. Pacemakers, insulin pumps, cochlear implants, and even DIY chips. These gadgets promise better care and less hospital time. They also introduce a new kind of danger. Not just privacy loss, but threats to life itself. In this video, we'll map those risks, show real cases, and give clear steps you can use today, starting with what IOB actually is. Start simple. IOB means any device that monitors or acts on the body and connects wirelessly. Wearables, like smartwatches, implantables like pacemakers, and ingestible sensors all fit. Think 3 layers: things you wear, things under your skin, and things you swallow. Each layer trades convenience for connection. That connection creates a path for data, and sometimes for attackers. Next, we'll walk through concrete examples where those paths were exploited. Real incidents show this is not sci-fi. In 2017, regulators flagged pacemaker firmware flaws that could let someone nearby alter settings. Older insulin pumps once sent commands without strong encryption, opening the door to unexpected doses. Hospitals hit by ransomware haven't had devices hacked directly, but care delayed. These are micro-stories with big consequences: firmware bugs, weak radios, and interrupted care. Up next, why securing these gadgets is far harder than securing a laptop. Why harder? Implants run on tiny batteries. Every radio ping drains power, so designers limit compute and transmissions. That makes heavy encryption and frequent updates tricky. Many devices live inside people for a decade or more, while software standards change in months. Radios like Bluetooth or proprietary RF expand the attack surface, and designers must balance safety, quick emergency access with security. That juggling act creates unavoidable trade-offs. Next, we'll map the specific threats that arise from those constraints. Threats take many forms. An attacker could send unauthorized commands if a device accepts unverified instructions. Radios can be eavesdropped or messages replayed. Denial of service attacks can jam telemetry or crash an interface. Companion smartphone apps or cloud APIs sometimes expose data or credentials. Supply chain flaws hide vulnerable libraries in devices. Even a stolen clinical programmer with default passwords can be dangerous. Most threats need proximity and skill, yet their impact can be catastrophic. But how likely are these attacks, really? Probability and impact differ. Targeted attacks on an individual implant are rare, yet the stakes are life and death. Many attackers look for easier targets: hospital networks, cloud servers, or mass-market wearables. Still, even low-probability events demand attention when consequences are severe. That's why regulators and engineers treat implants differently from ordinary gadgets. Coming up, who decides what your device can collect, store, or share, and what laws apply? Probability and impact differ. Targeted attacks on an individual implant are rare, yet the stakes are life and death. Many attackers look for easier targets: hospital networks, cloud servers, or mass-market wearables. Still, even low-probability events demand attention when consequences are severe. That's why regulators and engineers treat implants differently from ordinary gadgets. Coming up, who decides what your device can collect, store, or share, and what laws apply? Privacy and ownership get messy fast. Is body data yours, the manufacturer's, or the cloud's? HIPAA protects some medical records, but many consumer wearables fall outside its scope. GDPR gives EU residents more rights, but it doesn't solve every case. Consent must be meaningful and opt-outs easy. Equity matters too. Secure devices cost more, which could widen health gaps. Before you trust a device, ask who can access your data and how it can be used. Next, let's look at how industry is responding. There's good news. Regulators and standards bodies have moved quickly. Agencies now require threat assessments, software bills of materials, and patch plans. Independent standards test network-connectable products. Engineers are adopting secure-by-design practices, per-device keys, signed updates, and SBOM transparency. Hospitals are segmenting networks and locking down programmers. These measures reduce risk, but they don't eliminate it. So what do engineers actually do to harden an implant? We'll break down practical mitigations next. Start with radio hardening. Limit long-range commands and use inductive coupling for critical functions. Implement mutual authentication, so a programmer and device verify each other with unique keys. Use session nonces to block replay attacks and short timeouts to reduce exposure. Ship signed firmware with rollback protection. Provide safe defaults that disable non-essential radios. Also keep audits, lightweight logs that record access without exposing patient details. Next, how clinical workflow and patient behavior fit into this security puzzle. Technology alone won't secure outcomes. Clinicians need clear workflows, unique credentials for programmers, automatic log-off, and visible audit trails. Hospitals should segment networks and block unnecessary outbound traffic. Patients play a role too. Secure your phone, use official apps, enable MFA, and ask clinicians how updates happen. Small human steps often close big gaps. But what about DIY biohackers tinkering at home? That scene raises special risks and rewards, which we'll examine next. The biohacking community drives fast innovation. Open-source closed-loop insulin systems show impressive results for some users. Subdermal NFC chips add convenience. But DIY gear is often uninsured, unregulated, and lacks formal safety testing. Users accept personal risk. If you're experimenting, prefer well-reviewed projects, document setups for emergency responders, and talk to a clinician if you have other implants. Innovation at the edge is vital, but the body is not a beta test. Coming up, a short mid-video recap so far. Mid-video recap. IOB spans wearables, implants, and ingestibles. Real incidents taught us about firmware flaws and weak radios. Constraints like battery life and long life cycles make security hard. Threats range from eavesdropping to stolen programmers. Industry moves towards secure design and transparent updates. Now let's walk through a focused threat model for a pacemaker. It will show concrete attacks and practical mitigations that apply to many devices. A pacemaker threat model starts simple: an attacker nearby, a vulnerable radio, and a programmer accepting weak commands. Possible misuse includes unauthorized reprogramming or telemetry snooping. Mitigations include proximity-limited command channels, mutual authentication with per-device keys, and read-only long-range telemetry. Session protections and safe defaults prevent replay and accidental reprogramming. Clinicians should verify pairings and patients should expect defined check-in patterns. But what about update strategies for implants that can't be patched remotely? Updating implants is complex. Some require clinic visits for signed firmware flashes. Others support over-the-air updates but must preserve battery life and surgical safety. Best practice uses signed, testable updates with rollback protection and clear patient communication. Manufacturers should publish SBOMs and maintain vulnerability disclosure programs. Hospitals need patch windows and asset inventories. These coordinated steps reduce lingering vulnerabilities. Next, let's examine the supply chain risks that often hide inside chips and libraries. Supply chains are a stealthy threat. A vulnerable Bluetooth stack or outdated third-party library can sit inside millions of devices. Manufacturers should track components with SBOMs and patch downstream quickly. Independent testing and bug bounties help find issues before deployment. Security isn't a one-time checklist, it's continuous monitoring. But software is only part of the story. Let's switch gears and look at practical, everyday checklists patients and caregivers can use right now. For patients, ask clinicians which wireless features your device uses and how it gets updates. Secure your phone with a passcode and automatic updates. Install only official companion apps and enable multi-factor authentication for cloud portals. Keep home transmitters updated and positioned as manufacturer recommends. Review privacy policies and ask about opt-outs. These are small steps that significantly reduce exposure. Next, practical tips for clinicians and IT teams responsible for many patients. Clinicians and IT teams should inventory every connected medical device and its software version. Segment networks and isolate medical VLANs. Remove default passwords from programmers and enforce role-based access. Subscribe to advisories and plan coordinated patch windows. train staff to recognize legitimate remote checks and phishing related to device portals. Keep incident playbooks ready. These operational controls turn manufacturer security into reliable patient safety. Next, what manufacturers and startups must do to build trust and safety from day one. Clinicians and IT teams should inventory every connected medical device and its software version. Segment networks and isolate medical VLANs. Remove default passwords from programmers and enforce role-based access. Subscribe to advisories and plan coordinated patch windows. Train staff to recognize legitimate remote checks and phishing related to device portals. Keep incident playbooks ready. Ease operational controls. Turn manufacturer security into reliable patient safety. Next, what manufacturers and startups must do to build trust and safety from day one. Manufacturers must build secure products by design. Do threat modeling early, use per-device keys, implement secure boot, and ship signed updates. Maintain an SBOM and a clear vulnerability disclosure program. Prefer memory-safe languages where possible and fuzz test RF stacks. Design clinic-friendly update flows and communicate risks to patients. Transparency builds trust, and trust drives adoption. But even with great engineering, new tech raises future challenges we should anticipate next. Looking ahead, expect more on-device anomaly detection that spots strange command patterns. Energy-efficient cryptography will give implants stronger protection without draining batteries. Device identity standards will let hospitals manage fleets securely. Regulators will likely demand faster patching and SBOM transparency, and long-lived implants will need crypto agility for future threats. The future won't eliminate risk, but it can make risks known, managed, and small. Now, a short Q&A for common patient questions. Q. Can someone hack a pacemaker? Short answer, it's rare but possible under specific conditions. Q. Are insulin pumps safe? Yes, if updated and used as intended. Older models had problems. Q. What if I biohack? Be cautious. Prefer vetted projects and document your setup. For most people, the benefits outweigh the risks, but vigilance matters. In the final section, we'll close with clear, actionable next steps you can take tonight to reduce your exposure. Tonight checklist. Lock your phone with a passcode and enable updates. Check companion apps are official and enable MFA on health portals. Ask your clinician about wireless features and update policies. If you use home transmitters, position and update them per instructions. If you're considering DIY implants, research community reviews and consult a clinician. Small actions tonight reduce real risks tomorrow. Finally, a quick closing thought about trust, innovation, and what to demand from the makers of the devices inside us. Trust matters. People will accept body-connected tech when they trust manufacturers, clinicians, and regulators. Demand SBOMs, secure updates, and clear privacy terms. Support policies that fund secure-by-design research and ensure low-income patients don't get second-class security. Innovation at the edges will continue, but society must set guardrails so the body is not treated as a test bed. That brings us to one final reminder about taking steps you can control, and why staying informed is your best defense. If this helped, hit like and subscribe for practical tech safety guides. Comment below with what devices you or a loved one use so we can cover real setups in a future video.